Okay, let's take you to Rustenburg now in the northwest, where some civil society organizations have disrupted the World TB commemorations celebrations in Rustenburg. This is where the Health Minister and SANAC Chairperson Mashatile was expected to address the gathering. We're now joined by Refiloe Seboko to tell us exactly what's going on. Will the Deputy President be able to give that address?
The Deputy President, it looks like he will be able to give that address on the commemoration of World TB Day. Right now on the podium is the Premier of the Northwest, Pushi Mape. But what happened just a few minutes ago, Dudu, we saw some civil organizations that involves members of the civil organizations here that involves from the Treatment Action Campaign disrupting just before the Premier got on stage. And I'm joined by Mashatile to tell us more about what just happened to Mashatile. Why is it that you were disrupting the Premier just before he got on the podium?
For the longest time, as people living with HIV, we were not taken seriously in this country. Yesterday, we mobilized people to come to Thabane Hall to meet with the Minister of Health and the Premier. And we collected stories from the community telling their frustrations about healthcare services, and they didn't bother to come. They didn't even bother to send a mere apology to communities, the communities that voted for them, the communities that put them in power. And coming here today, we were disrespected by the Premier. He told people that I know that you, Batubaba AIDS, you are going to come to me on the stage. We cannot be called by Batuba AIDS in this time and year, especially in this month where we are celebrating human rights of people. We know that how we regain our freedom in this country. People died in 1963 in Sharpeville and in Langa. We know that TB it has 141 years as we are talking this year, but now we haven't have a cure of TB. So we cannot, as people living with HIV, knowing very well that we are the ones that we are at risk of being killed by HIV and not be respected by any government official, and we keep quiet about that. If us engaging them on the boardrooms, it's not enough. We'll go back to the streets. We'll disrupt all the meetings until they take people living with HIV seriously in this country, because there is a lot of money that is being invested in this country to fight HIV and AIDS. We are saying we want to end TB and AIDS by 2030, but if we have leaders like this who will not take us serious, who are not willing to work with communities, who are not willing to come and listen to communities, then we have a problem. So we cannot tolerate that anymore as people living with HIV.
And just before, Mashatile, let me ask you this. You were demanding that the Premier apologize, and just before he got on stage, are you happy in the manner in which he responded to you guys in disrupting his speech?
When we came down, it's because he said he's going to have a meeting with us, and we will make sure that we are meeting with him. We ask him to write it down to say he apologized to the people of this country, because what he did yesterday, it's not just to undermine people of Thabane, but the people of this country, because we are here. TB is affecting people around the country, and South Africa is one on the top 10 countries that people are killed by TB. So we cannot have leaders who will choose what to address and not what to address. And lastly, I want to engage this. I hope that the Deputy President will take this message also to the Parliament and the President, if he will see this interview, to say on the days that are important like this, like your AIDS Day and World AIDS Day and TB Day and all these days that are talking to us as people on the ground, they shouldn't have parallel sessions, because most of ministers are not here because they are called to Beachwood. Most of ministers, they had to drive in the morning going back to where they are called, but they know very well that it's an international day, and we are claiming in South Africa that we are doing something, but we are not prioritizing. So we must walk the walk and talk the talk.
Well, Dudu, I don't know if I still have more time, but allow me to welcome one of the ladies here who will also tell us about, this day, and as it's a commemoration of not just TB but HIV. Or maybe let me just get to the gent. Introduce yourself and tell us your name and surname, please.
My name is Lumkalipi, the national leader for people living with HIV as well. I think your question speaks about the happenings of the event. We are tired of boardroom meetings. We are tired of events as well. All we want is change. All we want is action within our communities. You see, we are sitting here, we are frustrated. We are fed up. The communities are frustrated. They are fed up. it's very difficult to access services. The reason behind that one, the politicians that are running the provinces. Yes.
Let me close it there. Allow me to just catch you, but we'll also take it just a little bit later. Dudu, let me throw it back to you in studio. And as we are anticipating Minister Joe Phaahla together with Paul Mashatile, Deputy Minister, they will be ascending the podium to give their keynote address.
Refiloe Seboko, no doubt, will give us more detail on the other side of 3 p.m.